I'm John Biddiscombe, Wesleyan's athletics director, and it is my distinct and personal pleasure to be a part of this celebration for one of Wesleyan's favorite sons. Jim's ties to Wesleyan, as well as his family ties, go back 6 generations. And one of Jim's forebearers, Henry Attoon Dresser, played on Andrews Field as a member of the 1908 varsity baseball team. However, today's celebration is about more than family ties. Jim Dresser's service to Wesleyan is significant and important. They range from his role as Alumni Association Chair, leader of the Wesleyan Fund, twice as a member of the Wesleyan Administration, and recently Chair of the Board of Trustees. Think about that. How many people can say they have accomplished so much in service to their university? The only thing Jim hasn't done is served as athletic director. There still may be time. Jim's love for Wesleyan is legendary, and his love for Wesleyan athletics, especially for the baseball team, has spanned his years as a member of the Wesleyan community. Therefore, it is fitting that his name be ever linked with this space he loves so much. Please join me in proclaiming this historic baseball field, Dresser Diamond. Before Jim throws out the ceremonial first pitch, he would like to say a few words. However, I would also invite John Driscoll, the class of 1962 and alumni director, as well as a close friend of Jim Dresser, to deliver the sure-to-reach baseball that will reach home plate. John, please come out.
Those of you who were here when I was an undergraduate, and there are several of you in the crowd today, know that Wesleyan is not bestowing this honor on me and my family because of my stellar exploits between these lines. Other than some bumbling efforts as an infielder on the freshman team, I did nothing to advance the cause of baseball at Wesleyan. I figure the honor is being bestowed because 6 generations of our family have coached or played on or just hung around this diamond. This should be called the Woody Allen Award, as it was he who said 90% of life is showing up. Baseball began at Wesleyan and on this ground in 1865. 2 years earlier, my great-great-grandfather, James Cook Van Benscoten, arrived at Wesleyan to teach classics, which he did for almost 40 years. I don't know whether he was a coach or a faculty advisor of Wesleyan's first team, but he did name it, the Agalians. He chose to name them after a Greek god, Agales, so obscure that Carla Antonaccio, a classics professor at Wesleyan for many years, told me she had to look him up. The Agalians became the Fighting Methodists and finally the Cardinals. Our naming skills have certainly improved over the decades. One of Professor Van Benny's 3 daughters, my grandmother Margaret, graduated from Wesleyan in 1904, lived with her parents, and worked in the college library. This is undoubtedly romantic conjecture on my part, but maybe she could look out of the library windows in what was then Rich Hall on College Row and watch my grandfather Henry, class of '08, cavorting in the outfield where he started for the Cardinal 9. Anyway, they got together somehow and begat my father, Jim Dresser Sr., class of '37. He grew up in France, so wasn't much of a baseball player. Instead, he was a starting defender on a Little 3 champ soccer team that finished second in New England behind Yale in 1936, a year when they beat Yale 1-0. My sister Marguerite, class of '86, rode and played volleyball. My son Clay, class of '93, played ultimate frisbee and absorbed enough baseball to found a company that produces computer baseball games. I've played in old-timers games and attended one of Woody's baseball camps on this special diamond. At that camp, my son, my brother Scott, and I shared the Rookie of the Year award, which we richly deserved because we were incredibly good at being rookies. Also here today is my cousin Steve Griggs, another great-grandson of Professor Van Benny, who wandered to the dark side and ended up as a four-sport athlete at Trinity. I am pleased that my niece Elizabeth and nephew Henry are here. Woody, keep an eye on Henry, he's a player. Like my boyhood hero, Duke Snyder, Henry throws right and bats left. My 10-year-old granddaughter Ellie, there, represents the 6th generation of our family to stand on this diamond. My hope is simple, that Wesleyan will continue to prosper, along with all its sports teams. I hope that many more generations of our family will continue to enjoy what I may never get used to calling Dresser Diamond, one of the oldest collegiate fields in the country, and surely the best venue to watch college ball. I am truly honored by your generosity.